Hey everybody, welcome to the Fluential and Friends podcast, where the story of your life can help somebody else's life story. My name is Joseph Ortiz. I'm here with my very special guest, Kevin Pack. How are we doing today, Kevin?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on, man.
Oh, dude, it's a pleasure. So I've known Kevin for, 6-7 years maybe, if I had to make a guess.
When did we first meet? It was like early threshold, probably.
Probably. So who knows what year that was, right? After the multitude of owners throughout the years.
Yeah.
But when I first met you, you were just like this awesome kid who just wanted to be strong. You were kind of shy until people got to know you, and then you kind of flourished throughout the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're just a completely different 180 type of person, if I had to say from my own perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And to see your growth throughout the years has been nothing short of inspirational.
Appreciate that.
What you've done, you do it genuinely. You've done it from the ground up, and you've built it all yourself. And I think your story, especially for how old are you now?
26 now.
You're
Yeah.
26. I think for your story at your age is very inspiring for anyone who feels like they might be stuck and they feel like they need to know someone to get them further in life. Because that's always kind of what you hear, right? It's not what you know, is who you know.
It's
Well,
true.
for you, you, and you worked your ass off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So
Facts.
for people who don't know, who is Kevin Pack? What do you do right now?
Yeah. So, I would say like I'm a serial entrepreneur. I own multiple 6 and 7 figure companies at the moment, mainly in the e-commerce space. So like with Amazon, and the business model that I work with is called Amazon FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. It's a program on Amazon for third-party sellers. And that's basically what I mainly do. I also dabble into a new business also as well, in Airbnb. So it's a new company structure that me and my business partner started as well. And so, yeah, those are kind of like the main things I've been in. Social media as well, I guess, is part of like, it ties into my business as well. So, yeah, those are the main things I do at the moment.
And like I said, it's so awesome to watch the growth that you've had. And so I do want to kind of go over like the entire process that kind of got you to where you're at today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do want to go back into your childhood. Okay. Like as you were younger, was it always something you wanted to do to be an entrepreneur, or did you have other aspirations as a kid?
You know, funny enough, I remember this one time I was walking to school with my grandma. My grandma was walking me to school and everything. And, she would ask me like, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? And this was back when I was living in Long Beach. So like around the LA area. And I think I was like 6 at the time, 6 or 7 at the time. And I said, I want to be the president of the United States. That's what I want to be,
Okay.
right? And the reason why that I said that was because I thought the president of the United States was the richest person in the world, right? And I essentially just wanted to be rich, essentially, because it just seemed cool. Like I wanted cars. Just, I didn't grow up with the most, I guess, in the highest income bracket or whatever. So I couldn't get all the toys I wanted. I just wanted to be able to just buy whatever I want, essentially, right? So I thought being the president of the United States meant that I was the richest person. But, down the line, I started to realize, oh, shit, that's not actually the case,
Yeah, and it's a lot of responsibility.
Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit too much for what they're getting paid for.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
100%.
saying? So, yeah, so that's basically what I would say. I didn't always know I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I guess I always had a sense of wanting to do more for myself. Rather, yeah.
So do you have like any of those kid hustler stories, like you're selling candy to your classmates, anything like that?
No, actually, I had never really dabbled into that or had an interest in doing that, to be honest. There was this one point in high school I was trying to create like a clothing brand. And I think there was a lot of that going around when I was in high school. And I kind of dabbled into it, but I didn't really know how it worked. So I never fully went through that whole process. I just like drew sketches of like logos and what would look cool. But I never really pulled through that, and I never like went out and sold candy and stuff like that. High school I was in a different mindset. I was in a totally different mindset. I wasn't in an entrepreneurial kind of grind. It was more so the time when I was like really just focused on like school, what college am I going to get into,
Mm-hmm.
right? So ironically enough.
And it's kind of refreshing to hear because a lot of times when you hear about these businessmen, it's usually a story like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, back when I was in middle school, I was selling this, and high school I started to sell this, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always had this entrepreneur hustler mindset, right?
Right.
Or for you, it kind of grew at later ages then. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so so now you're in high school, right? And you're studying, you're trying to get to a college. Are you playing sports at this time too, or are you kind of just more academically focused?
Funny thing, when I first got into high school, I joined the football team,
Okay.
right? And my goal was, because I've always been kind of like an active kid, at the very least of that. But my plan at the time was to get into football, get really good at it, maybe get like a D1 scholarship or something like
Okay.
that. I was like really trying to get into
So
that and
use it as like a
everything,
gateway,
as a gateway to get into college,
better
etc.
education.
Right. And at least, playing football like professionally would be like sounds better than just being anything else, right? So that was kind of the goal when I first entered high school, but then I soon later found I wasn't very good at football, to be honest. And I was like a buck five getting fucking ran through like the linebackers and shit. And I was like, all right, this is not going to work out.
You're like, what other routes can I take
Yeah,
now?
let me start looking at my other options,
Yeah, and you're
right?
like, golf is looking really,
Oh,
really interesting
God. Or
right
the
now.
triangle instrument. Yeah, that's looking fire right now.
Cowbell got very popular throughout the
Mm-hmm.
years, thanks to Will
Mm-hmm.
Ferrell. So as you're going through, what college do you end up going to?
So in my junior year of high school, I got an early admission to FITM, which is like a fashion institute. It was a
Okay.
private school. Because at the time I was very big into men's fashion and stuff like that. I still am, but like in a more career sense, I was more into it. And so I got an early admission to it because I did this project that they require for students to be able to get admitted. It was like some kind of like project scrapbook. Anyways, they really liked it and they ended up admitting me into school, right? And I was like, okay, great, done. Like I don't have to worry about school for the rest of the year. My senior year I can just chill because I already
I
found a
already
college I'm going to.
got a school.
Exactly. Everyone
Yeah.
else is kind of applying to like Fullerton, Cal State, Long Beach, whatever have you. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna chill. And then funny enough, during that time is when I started getting into fitness. I started doing bodybuilding. I started learning about like nutrition, and I really got like I started to build a passion for all that, a passion for fitness and wellness and whatnot. So that whole year, my whole senior year, I was all devoted into fitness. I watched YouTube videos. I was watching Christian Guzman, Scott Herman Fitness, like all these OG people on the YouTube space and fitness space, and learning about it, and going to work out, getting some results, and going from like 105 to like 140 or whatever. And then by the time I graduated senior year, I was like, oh, I have to go to FITM. I have to go to a fashion school. And then like 2 weeks into it, I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
Oh,
So my mom was pissed, but I ended up leaving that school and going to community college to study like more like kinesiology and like business, whatnot.
Okay. And so as you're going through the years, you're in college now, kinesiology and business. And at the same time, is this around the time you became a personal trainer?
Yes. So
Was that your first job? Or
No.
what did you have before?
So, before that, I was working kind of like under the table because my family owned like a meat market down in Long Beach. So like a family owned business, small meat market, and so I would work there. I started working there when I was like 13, 14.
Got it.
And obviously like that's not legal, but like, you know what I'm saying? But like it was just helping the family business, right? And so that was my first job. And then my first like real job on paper, I was working at Home Goods. You know what Home Goods is?
Oh yeah. Man, that's chaos. One of my first jobs was Michael's.
Oh,
So
see,
so not too far off.
you know exactly what I'm talking
Oh
about.
man, I would come home smelling like candles.
Yes.
Those Yankee candles.
Yes.
Oh, I hate those things with a passion
I
now.
don't like them. I don't like Christmas music now because of that. Because they played that shit every
Killed
fucking
me
day.
every day.
Dude, I was losing my
Yeah,
shit.
I was seasonal.
Yeah.
It was a seasonal job during the holidays, and it was my first job. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, this is the workforce.
Yeah.
What a wake up call.
And bro, and they like this was the time I was getting my personal trainer certification, so I had to pay for it somehow. So I was like, okay, I need to like get a job.
Yeah.
And so they knew that. They knew that I was trying to leave to become a personal trainer. and they would make me fucking do all the heavy lifts, like pick up the rugs and the chairs and shit like that. And they'd be like, okay, you're done at the cash register, go pick up this rug and put it in the shelf. I'm like, oh, bro, like, all right, fine.
You're over there power clean.
Literally, like power cleaning rugs and just, all right, let me take it over. Yeah. Yeah, I would brace before and just, yeah. So it was good practice.
Hey, all the female listeners right now just heard the word Home Goods and Michael's. You're drinking your pumpkin Starbucks right now.
They're having a good time, probably.
This is an episode for the ladies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that was my first job. And then that's when I transitioned to working into a gym. I worked for like Fitness 19 and then like Crunch Fitness for a while first before I got to do like independent for, yeah.
We're more similar than what you think. I also worked at Fitness 19 for my first personal training job.
Wow.
I was 22 years old and I got into Fitness 19 in Fontana.
Really? Fontana?
Yeah, in that little closet location. It was so tiny.
Oh my God.
Hey,
dude.
shout out to Justin though, my boy Justin Jumper. He's like one of my best friends now. He's my first boss. And oh, you know it.
I know Justin. I know Justin because he worked at the Eastville.
Miraloma.
Yeah. And that's where I first started my fitness career. Not career, but like, yeah, my fitness career, but not as a job. Just saying like fitness in general.
That's where I first met you.
Is that?
And then we transitioned over to Threshold. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I think you're right.
Yep.
Oh my God. I think you're right. Holy shit. Like, oh my God. I think you're right.
We just connected so many stars right now.
That's crazy. Like, wow. Yeah. So I know Justin because he worked there, and I was trying to get a job there, but he didn't hire me. I don't know why. So I ended up working in the Corona location instead.
Got it.
And I was doing decently well over there.
I was still laughing at that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So you're there, you're a personal trainer, and then you eventually end up transitioning over to Threshold, right? Private training facility here in Ontario, California. So now you're a trainer here and your business is starting to flourish, right? You're a personal trainer. You start doing a lot of powerlifting now. And for people who don't know, you were a competitive powerlifter. You were on that platform. Which organization did you compete for?
Mainly the USPA. I was where I was competing in, mostly in, and then near towards the end of my powerlifting career, I was doing USAPL.
Okay,
so those are the main.
See, I'm kind of familiar. So I just had Morgan on the podcast a few episodes back, and he kind of familiarized me with the organizations. The USPL being the natural organization. Yep. So for those of you guys who were curious, Kevin Pack is 100% all natty.
That's straight up.
Yeah.
Facts.
And you were very successful, right? You have a few American records, national records. I know you did something.
Yeah. So I did place an American record for my the deadlift. So I set a deadlift American record, and then I also won nationals that same year as well
in Vegas.
And I think I actually set a few state records too, which was also deadlift and then squat.
Yeah,
I believe.
So for people who don't know, what was your weight that you competed at?
148.
148, and then what was the records you got?
The record I got, I know for deadlift was 534, and then I don't remember what my squat was, but I think it was somewhere around like the 380 range. I think.
So at 148 pounds, you deadlifted 534 pounds.
Yes.
That's insane.
Thank you.
You powerlifters, and I had the same reaction when Morgan was telling me his numbers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you guys are just insane. It blows my mind how many phenomenal powerlifters just live in this area.
It is definitely underrated for sure.
I don't like, is there something about the Inland Empire that just attracts powerlifters? Is it like the climate? Is it
has to be the heat.
The amount of oxygen we have down here in the valley?
It could be that and the heat. Like it has to like just build our DNA a little differently.
But it also breeds phenomenal bodybuilders as well.
Facts.
I might know one.
I personally know one who happens to be like freaking Olympian.
He's in this room.
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
He is I.
He is him. So yeah, I mean that's a little bit of what I was going through, and I'm out of the powerlifting scene now. I don't really train powerlifting anymore.
But you're still pretty dang strong, because I see the posts you put up of you squatting still and deadlifting.
Just like randomly.
Yeah, let me 450. Just let me pull this real quick.
I was surprised by that. I genuinely was surprised that even though I'm not as consistent and I don't train as hard, I was able to still keep a very good baseline strength, which still surprised me.
Muscle memory, satellite cells.
Something like
They're
that.
always there, ready.
Nowadays, I train mostly Muay Thai, and like I'm trying to transition more into that and more train into that. Yeah.
Which is good, right? Because even for me personally, like as I get into my later ages, I want to do more kind of like wellness, fitness, cardio based type stuff. Like next year, I want to start getting into like more like Spartan races,
Oh yeah, those are cool.
that type of stuff. Like I've always wanted to do it. I just never had the time because I was always doing competitive bodybuilding.
Right.
But now since I had the podcast with Janique Levette, which is the American Ninja Warrior
I saw some of
female
that.
who I
Yep.
had on, she kind of like motivated me to like do it now, like stop waiting.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah,
You should, bro. Like, I mean, especially like how like well built you are at the moment. You're not like heavy. You're still able to like move very, very well.
happy medium.
It's a happy medium, and you have enough strength to like to be able to withstand a lot of that stuff too. So now it's just like getting the cardiovascular system back up. And,
Yeah, VO2 max right now is
literally.
not there.
Yeah, same. When I started going again, starting like to get into sparring a little bit more, I was like, fucking hell, I'm strong, but I cannot keep up with these guys.
Yeah, well, those combat sports like Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu, they are so physically demanding. And you have another human's body pushing against yours. And I don't think, for people who've never done it, I don't think they truly realize the physical exhaustion
Dude.
on
Like,
the central nervous system, on just cardiovascular health. Like it just pushes you beyond limits.
yeah, first minute you're on, you feel great, and then you suddenly hit like an adrenaline dump, just like boom, and you just like you're wiped.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's always the guys who like watch UFC and they're like yelling at the fighters, like, "Oh, just get up, just that."
You try it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny as fuck. Yeah.
So, sorry, I kind of went off topic. Totally fine though. Just kind of pull back to where we were. So, you're a personal trainer now. Your business is doing good, but what people don't know, well, majority of the average person, was that you were plotting your next business move, which was this Amazon FBA, right? Let's go into that. How do you even figure out this Amazon FBA business?
Yeah. So, it's basically exactly how you described it, of like plotting, and that's what I was doing, because like I started to realize I was working a lot of hours as a personal trainer, a lot of in-person hours. I was doing both online and in person, but I started to realize like it was really hard to scale, and it was really hard to do this long term as well. And so I started to realize like, okay, you know, I can't do this when I'm in my 30s or 40s or whatever. Like it's not sustainable. And if I want to reach these massive goals and get the cars that I want and everything, I need to figure out to do something that doesn't require my time for money, you know? And so I started looking online on like, I literally just Googled like how to make money online, because I started noticing like people were making money online, and it was like more of a passive form of making income as well. So I was like, okay, let me just start, you know, pulling that up. And basically like a few things came up, like drop shipping came up, Amazon came up, and then like real estate came up as well as a form of passive income. But I was like, okay, I don't fucking have enough money to do real estate. Like,
Right.
come on now. And so Amazon just made the most sense to me, because I was already buying products on Amazon all the time, and I know everyone else was buying it at the time. So I was like, okay, why don't I just put a product up there and be in front of millions of customers? It just makes total sense to me. And yeah, that's how I started. Like, that's how I initially found Amazon FBA.
Okay. And so you find it, and how much money, for someone like you doing personal training, how much money did you have to kind of put in for your first drop?
Yeah.
Your first product?
So I was making about like $4,000 a month with my personal training job. And obviously I was living at home with my mom. So I didn't have any bills. Like I had a car payment. That was really it, but
Right.
no major bills. I was taking advantage of my youth. So I was like, all right, let me just save up some money. Let me just utilize it and put it into something that would, that's towards my goal right now, which is try to find something that makes passive income. And so I saved up about probably like $10,000, and I used about $3,000 of it to fund my first initial product. So that order was just about $3,000.
And your first product was this dog animal repellent.
Yes. Oh my God. This is a funny product. So first off, this product at least showed me the validity of Amazon FBA, right? So the product that I first sold was an ultrasonic animal repeller.
There we go.
Right, it's ultrasonic. You basically stick it to the ground, and it's supposed to beep, make sounds, and send electronic signals to animals to stay away.
In theory, that sounds amazing.
It does. A lot of people were buying it.
If someone could do that with mosquitoes,
Ooh, that would be
hey,
amazing.
You heard it here first.
Actually, I think there is something like that already. It's like a bug repellent in general. But I chose to go the animal route. Who knows why? But the numbers made sense.
Right.
So I launched that product. The margins were fantastic. I could source it for $7 out the door. I was able to air ship it so I can get to Amazon very, very quickly. And I was able to sell it for like $35 to $40. So the
huge profit.
Yeah, margins were incredible. I was making probably like 50% profit margins on that. And I made like $9,000 within 2 weeks of that product, which is crazy. And with, 50% profit margins, just about $4,000 profit. So I was like, well, shit, I just made my own income in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to do shit.
This is real.
Yeah, this is legit. Later, I find that the product doesn't actually work. And so like I was getting reviews and people were saying like, this doesn't work. I just saw a deer kick my animal repeller. And I'm just like, oh shit. So like it was a bad product because it literally did not work. It was just like basically like a false advertising type of whatever. So it ended up getting a lot of bad reviews. So that was it.
How do you find the product? How do you even find a manufacturer to make the product for people who don't know?
Yeah, so nowadays the access to finding manufacturers to build you anything is very easy to access nowadays. Like you could literally message them like if you're on like fucking Facebook, like literally. I'm not saying go to Facebook to find suppliers. I'm just using the analogy of how easy it is to talk to suppliers nowadays. So there's a website called Alibaba. And that's basically a manufacturing website that hosts a bunch of manufacturers that are trading companies, manufacturers, all parts of the globe, whether it's in China or like Vietnam or Pakistan or the United States even. That's where they're hosted, right? And so you can just literally like type in a product that you want to source. So let's just say like it's notebook. You would type in notebook, and then there's just gonna be a bunch of listings on Alibaba that shows like a sourcing price, so like maybe $2 per piece or whatever, and then you could just literally just straight up message them. You just be like, oh, how much can I get for 500 units? And they'll give you an answer. They'll give you a quote. And so that's how I found suppliers, and how I found the product idea was I used software tools that basically are specific for Amazon. There's software tools called Jungle Scout and also Helium 10 that allow you to see numbers on Amazon. So like when you go on Amazon, you type in notebook and you see all these listings, you can pull up this software and it will literally pull up all the numbers of every single listing that's on Amazon and show you how much revenue they're making, how many reviews they have, how long have they been selling, how often have they changed their pricing, etc. So there's a lot of metrics that you can look at, and depending on those metrics, you kind of filter it a certain way that matches a criteria that would make sense to start selling.
So to put it in simple terms, this basically Helium 10 is a way to see if a product is good or not. You can see exactly how much they're selling and if it's a profitable product, that kind of like the field you want to get into.
Exactly. And tell you the profit margins as well. So it's a good way to start analyzing things on Amazon and seeing what makes sense and if it's in demand as well.
Yeah. So first product kind of failed long term, great short term. Won the battle, lost the war in a sense.
Basically.
And so now you have to go to another product, right? And so your second product is this letterboard.
Yes. So I was selling these felt letterboards, and really cool. I actually have one.
As do we.
Yeah, they're cool. And I thought that was a good product. I launched that literally like as soon as my first one started making money. I launched that one.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, fuck, I need to hop on this because like I'm making a lot of money. I need to put money into it. Terrible mistake. I should have like let one kind of settle and like kind of be on its own first and establish itself before I moved on to another product, right? So that one failed. That one basically didn't make any sales. Basically, it just kind of that one was so bad I had to pull out all of the inventory out and then donate all of it. That's how bad that one was. Yeah, that one was really bad. That was like worst case scenario on Amazon for sure.
So we're gonna see a bunch of letterboards kind of floating around.
Yeah.
LA.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I donate them to Goodwill, and they're like, I don't know what to do with all these. I'm like, just figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Give it to some fucking kids or something like that. So I don't know what you want to do with it.
A
So
lot of kids at Christmas got brand new letter boards.
yes, they may have hated it. They may have loved
The
it.
parents probably hated it because now they have letters all over the floor.
Probably.
As
And
a parent myself, I know exactly how that stuff goes.
they're like, damn, I glad I didn't buy anything.
Man,
Oh man. So that one was probably the worst fail I ever had. Lost a lot of money there. And then my third failed product were these silicone cooking utensils. That one was just badly. It was a bad offer. So the market wasn't too bad, but I don't know why we decided to go with a green color and include like a rice paddle thing with it. The pictures weren't great either, though. To be honest, I did my own photography on that, which was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Choosing to do my own photography instead of just paying somebody else to do the photography for me. So I was literally taking these pictures on my fucking iPhone, and they just look so bad.
and back then it's like the iPhone 8, no portrait mode yet.
Yeah. And Amazon has a very, very, very particular way of looking for products. Like if you notice, there's like a certain structure of how these photos look, and they're very like not unison, but there's just like a culture, not cult, yeah, I guess a culture of how you do photography on Amazon.
Right.
So I didn't do any of that shit, and it was horrible, terrible idea. And so I think that was another big reason why I felt it didn't work out. But that product at least sold out over time, and I made some money back at least.
Okay.
Right. So it was one of those things
Not
that
a
just
complete loss.
not a complete loss, but like it still wasn't enough for me to make a reorder.
Got it. So once that product is out, what was your number one first product that hit?
So after those cooking utensils, after that, this is when I started getting into like toys, and I started looking into the market of toys, and that was my first hitter. That was like 2019, I think, March of 2019. I launched this toy product, and what I did was I tailored. It was like a unisex product, but I tailored it specifically for boys. Right. So I filled in a hole in the market because I saw that no one was really catering to the boys. So like, let me put some up for my dudes out here, right? So I did that, did really well. I did like $8,000 its first month. Not as good as the animal product, but it was still good enough to start making money again. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a reorder. What I then did is launch a girl version of that. So I did the opposite end of it.
Smart.
And then so I basically had these two SKUs in the same product category, taking over more real estate on Amazon, because you know how you have you go on the first page and you see a bunch of listings, but now you see two of my products on there, so it's like more opportunity for sales. So yeah, that year I went from making, in March I did $8,000 in revenue, and then by the end of December I did $100,000 in just December alone. So yeah, it was crazy. So I went, and then my overall revenue, I think I did like over $200,000 that year, which was crazy.
So to get into the mind of Kevin, how old are you around this time?
Oh, fuck. I think at this time I'm probably 20. I'm going to say I was 22, maybe 21, 22.
So you're 21, 22. You just capped off at $200,000 revenue.
And I was still working my personal training job too.
You're still working your personal training job. You're still living at home.
Yep.
What is going through your mind? Like, do you want to like scream like I did it, like Mom, I told you so, like
Dude, like
what is going through your mind when you're just seeing these numbers rack up every morning? You wake up, right, and you're just seeing the numbers rack up. You're getting a notification on your phone, another product sold, another product sold, another product sold. What is going through your mind?
I mean, it feels, even to this day, it still feels like unreal.
Because you had 3 failed products.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about just stopping?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah,
like maybe
absolutely.
I need to do something else.
There was a period I stopped for a bit.
Right.
But I was like, no, I know what kept me going was I knew for a fact that other people were doing it. And clearly there's not, you go on Amazon, there's literally products selling. Like there's not an undeniable fact that there's literally products selling on Amazon making money. So I'm like, okay, if this is working for other people and it's not working for me, then that means I'm doing something wrong, and I need to figure out how to do it right. That's it. And there was this one Mark Cuban quote that I heard that he said, it doesn't matter how many times you fail, you just need to get it right one time, and you can walk it all the way down to the bank and laugh about it, right? And that was like what like made me realize like that's true. Like I don't need to make a fuss about my failures. I just need to get it right one time, and that's what I did. That one product worked, and it showed me, okay, I get to my next product, okay, my next product, etc.
So 200K, how you feeling?
Oh man, I felt like a fucking beast. I was like, I know exactly. Like I felt like I unlocked the code to life,
Yeah.
basically, right? And so at that point, I was still debating whether I wanted to still keep my personal training job and do this on the side still, or if I should just full time quit, right? And then eventually, I just made the decision like I'm gonna quit my personal training job because I already made like literally. What did I make? I think I made like the same amount of money. Um, like I think I doubled my income. That was my first 6-figure year. I remember that. It was my first 6-figure year because I had my personal training job and then I made that Amazon business, and I made like 80K just off of Amazon. So yeah, that was my first 6-figure year, and I was like, holy shit, I have so much money right now. This is crazy. And
As a 22-year-old kid, you're like, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that.
granted, I bought a Tesla, so
Yeah,
I
there you
mean,
go.
I did do that, but a Tesla's not very expensive though. It was only like 40 grand. So,
Right.
and I didn't pay cash; I just financed it, so it didn't really cost me that much out of pocket. And it was more of a business move too, because like it led me to other ventures and like showing my success, and etc. So it was always kind of calculated from there. It was always kind of calculated. And then yeah, so I bought a Tesla and then I got an apartment.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But so did COVID help you though?
It did.
Because more people are shopping online now.
It did. It did. From there,
So you're like, oh no.
like, oh,
man,
fuck,
fun.
damn. Yeah. So yeah, so COVID hit. So I just moved to my apartment in February. COVID hit in March, right? And first off, I was pissed because like I couldn't use any of the amenities for the entire year. So I'm like, well,
That the apartment had to offer.
yeah,
Right.
which I was one of the main factors why I got it. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of a waste. And then I was still doing my Amazon business. And then during COVID, I actually made damn near 600,000 that year, which was fucking insane. Wow. So rode the wave of COVID. It was I will say it was a very risky time because of how like volatile everything was,
Right.
There's a lot of shipping delays. There was a lot of,
And then you had the tanker thing that was stuck in the ocean, right, and prevented like shipping from coming through. So there was that big fiasco that you had to deal with as well.
a lot of inventory management that you had to go through that time. So I had to pivot a lot on that, but it didn't stray me away from the business at all. Instead, I doubled down on the business, and that's what allowed me to do like that year. I did $200,000 in a month in just December alone. I was like, okay, I need to. This like validated more of my choices and leaving my personal training job and everything like that. So, yeah, that was a crazy year. That was good.
So now we're going through own apartment. You have Oogie.
I did get Oogie during COVID.
Yeah,
he's a COVID dog.
Your chow. Your chow chow.
He's my chow chow. Yes.
Beautiful little bear of a dog.
Thank you.
And now life is kind of just kind of mainstreaming now, right? Like you have the formula now to launch successful products on Amazon. You know how to use the Helium 10 better. You know how to find successful products. You know the market to get into.
That's right.
And so how many products do you have now?
So now technically I have like 8 products right now. I've been selling. And the thing with Amazon is you don't need a lot of products either. You don't need a lot of products.
You just need the right ones.
You just need the right ones, and you just need those to do all pretty well. So, so I have 8 products right now. I'm still doing like $500,000 a year, so I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, that's basically what I'm holding up. I do have a business partner now. And so we're kind of like working on doing our own kind of side project together to see what we can do. And Amazon businesses are sellable as well. So like you can build them up and you can sell them to other companies that will buy it. And so that's kind of like what we were like thinking about doing, just a quick flip type of thing.
And then you could always rebuild a new one.
Yeah, exactly. You can just make as many as you want as long as you
have
you
a
remove
product.
yourself from one.
Yeah.
Because you can only have one account at a time.
Got it. Got it. Wow. Well, that's pretty amazing.
Thank you. So yeah, that is that.
So your business is kind of handling itself at the moment. You're working how many hours a week right now?
Yeah, so I was working. The Amazon business alone was probably only like maybe like 4 hours a week.
Yeah, once you kind of had it.
Yeah, nowadays it's even less. I work maybe 2 hours a week on it.
Yeah.
So I don't work at all on it. But during that time, that's where I started getting a lot. So I started posting my results about it, right? More on YouTube, more on Instagram, stuff like that. A lot of people started asking me questions about it. A lot of people wanted me to mentor them. And that's where I started building the FBA Boss Academy, which is kind of like a education agency type of thing. And so I started working a lot on that. So a lot of my days were just content and like teaching people and helping people and, things of that nature, because I still wanted to have some kind of purpose. And I felt like it was very natural because I was a personal trainer for so long. And so it was like a very natural thing to progress into teaching people things and providing some kind of positive impact into their life,
It always feels good, right? It always feels good to give back and share your knowledge with other people, right?
Yeah.
Because like I said at the beginning of this podcast, like your story is so relatable to a lot of people whenever you were younger. And a lot of people don't know which route to take. So you have yourself, who is still a young man, 26 years old, and now you're offering this help through the FBA Boss Academy, where people can reach out to you. That you have your coaching service as well that you offer, and you're only taking specific people, right? Because they have to fill out the application, they have to be accepted into the academy, because you don't want people just to come in and waste your time.
Yeah, dude, we probably get like 5,000 applicants per month, and we only take maybe 60 students a month.
So for anybody listening, if you're interested in the FBA Boss Academy, have your shit together and don't just lollygag with it. Yeah.
We're pretty sure. Before, it used to be just open, like, hey, like anyone can buy and everything. But especially when I brought my business partner in, who's an 8-figure seller, we need to value who you're working with a lot more.
Right.
Because now you have access to me and him, and we value our time very highly. So it's like you need to be on a certain page to be able to be in our inner circle.
Totally makes sense.
That's how that got in.
So to kind of step away from that Amazon FBA a little bit, now you're traveling the world. So I do want to kind of dabble into that. What are some places you traveled to? What is your favorite place? Which place had the worst food?
Oh, geez. So recently, I went to Europe for the first time. I took me and my girlfriend Michelle out there. And
which part?
So we did kind of like a Euro tour. So we went to London as our home base, and then we went to France and Italy and then Greece, and then also a little bit of Switzerland. We were there for a bit too. So we did a nice little Euro tour there. That was one of our recent ones. Been to Mexico, been to like New York, Chicago, things like that. Been doing a lot of that this year. This year I made it a goal that I wanted to travel more, because I never got a chance to really do it before. I didn't have the right people around me. No one really wanted to do it. And so I was like, this year, like I really want to make it a priority and like start traveling. And thankfully, my current partner, Michelle, she's on page with all that, and, and so very grateful for that. And we've been able to travel. And so we went to Europe. London is like the home base. London's really dope. It's like it's like a New York, LA, but like imagine New York and LA, but you expanded the city and stretched it out, so it's way more open, so it's not as crowded. Transportation is much better out there than other places, but I still don't prefer that over just driving your car. I still would prefer driving my car to places, but the transportation is very easy. Public transportation is clean, a lot of good food, a lot of good people out there. Vibes are great. A lot of people doing random shit out there as well. So I liked London a lot. We went to Paris. That was beautiful. I probably didn't pick the best time to go though, because it was like July. So midst of the heat, it was fucking hot. Yeah.
Just like California.
Yeah, but out there, the problem is with Europe. This is the one thing I don't like about Europe. 80% of places don't have AC.
Oh.
It sucks. It absolutely sucks. Yeah. So bro, I need to sleep in like 66-degree rooms, bro. Like when I'm home, me and Michelle are in bed, I crank that motherfucker down.
Dude,
like,
it's raining right now here in California. I still have my AC on in my house.
Yeah, same. Like I need to sleep in like a fucking cold hibernated area.
Yeah.
So imagine we're in London. And here's the thing: we're in like a small penthouse type of style high rise, right? And so we're closer to the sun.
Oh no!
And it's hot as fuck. Like, oh my god, I was sweating most nights. Like, It was horrible.
That's
And they
horrendous.
fucking they bamboozled me, bro, because I picked that place specifically for AC, but they didn't have any AC there. They bamboozled me.
They had a fan and they put it in front of an ice chest and it's just like blowing.
That's the crazy thing. They didn't even have a fan for me,
Oh,
bro.
no.
I had to fucking hit them like, yo,
We're fighting.
where's it at? And then they eventually just bought me a new fan, but it's still like it's a fan. It's not gonna fucking blow you cold air. So that sucked.
Yeah, yeah. Sleeping in the warm is
Not comfortable.
no, it's not the business.
Yeah. And then so that's where we went. Thankfully when we were in Paris, it was an AC'd place, 5-star hotel. So fuck yeah, it better be.
Yeah.
It better be AC'd. And then we went to
AC is literally one of the stars.
yeah, probably. And then we went to Italy. I did not like Italy. Yeah. So me and Michelle did not like Italy, mainly because of food and people. Views were absolutely amazing, like breathtaking. I'll talk about mountains with trees, beautiful water, yachts, boats, beautiful buildings of architecture. Absolutely incredible. But the food was just not there, bro. I'm talking about like pasta, tomato sauce, done. That's
Yeah.
it. And I'm just like, yo, y'all gonna put anything else in this? Like
That's the OG though.
that's the thing. That is the OG. That's
That's
how it's
the
always
OG.
been.
Yeah.
And then around here, we like just put more into it. So
Yeah.
we're like,
Onion, garlic,
yeah.
this and that.
So it kind of like killed our expectations.
You're like, this is just tomato puree on my noodles.
Literally. And we were very disappointed in that
Yeah.
because we were expecting way more, which I don't know whose fault that is. Okay, actually it's not our fault. It's not their fault.
Like not,
It's not their fault.
It's definitely not their fault.
It's definitely our expectations of it, but that just it's not our preference,
Yeah.
you know. So we didn't like it because of that, and the people were just not very friendly, not very welcoming.
I heard that. Yeah.
They're just like very standoffish, especially me and Michelle are people of color. Like they just like kind of brush us off or whatever, right? So that was that, and then we went to Greece right after, Santorini. Oh my God, Santorini, one of my favorite places in the world now. Like Santorini's beautiful. It looks exactly how Instagram photos take it.
Okay.
Like with the white buildings,
Yeah.
the white
the blue
stone, blue ocean, like,
beautiful mountainsides.
yeah, and like pool in your crib type of thing, overlooking the mountains and the ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Beautiful, gorgeous. Food's really good. Everyone was so friendly out there, and had a great time. We went on like a yacht for a day, and it had like great seafood and stuff like that, and it was probably one of my favorite places to ever been.
So now you're living it up. You have your FBA Boss Academy, and then you decide you want to give back to your mom.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. What do you do for your mom?
Yeah, so I completely retired my mom, and she was kind of already retired because she owned the meat market or whatever, and then like she sold it off, and she owns a little bit of like she still owns a property, but so she just collects rent. But the rent is not able to keep up enough with like living expenses and like inflation and whatnot. It's not enough. So she was starting to get really tired on bills, and she would always complain. I was just like, you know what, mom? Like, don't worry about that. Let me just give you some extra few bands every single month so you don't have to worry about that. The bills are paid. Just spend it on whatever you want and just live the life that you want to live, right? Do whatever you want. And so I did that for her, and I also bought her a brand new 2023 Porsche Cayenne. And it's a beautiful spec white exterior, then like this like mocha brown interior that looks lovely. So I let her completely spec it out, like from the website, spec it out. It took like 5-6 months to deliver. And yeah, so that's what I got for her, and she loves that car. And
That's beautiful. Whenever I seen that you posted about that, I was like, man, that is the coolest thing when I see people do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's almost everybody's goal, right? Retire your mom,
Yeah.
retire your dad. You know, whenever people want to reach a certain level of success.
it's the least we could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, oh man, train of thought. So as we're going through, you help your mom, everything's beautiful. How does it feel? Because I know for a fact you have probably a high number of haters, right? From people you probably knew previously, from people that you never met. For someone like you, people always handle this differently. Do you ignore it? Do you engage in it?
It depends on the circumstances of where it's being handled, or like where it's being, like where I'm getting the hate from.
Yeah.
If it's from social media, for the most part, I ignore it, and sometimes I'll entertain it, but out of like just to make more content out of it. I do it just to really just get more views, really.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of helpful in a way. So I kind of use it not to hurt me, but more so, or like to make me feel a certain way, but more so to just get more traction. I stir the bucket a little bit more, and kind of trigger some more people and everything like that, right? It's also an ego thing, to be honest. Like it's an ego thing for me to prove my point because I like being right. But at the same time, it's just I try my best to just kind of just let it be. People are gonna say stupid shit. They're not paying my bills, so why do I need to care that much?
Yeah. I think it's the best way to handle it, right? Entertain a little bit, especially if you know you can win easily.
Yeah, a nice little a light flex.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, yeah, let me just do that.
So, what was some advice you could give a young entrepreneur, anybody that feels like they might be stuck? What is something that helped you besides the Mark Cuban quote, which is phenomenal? What is some advice you might want to give to somebody who's a beginner?
You need to go out and like try things, regardless of what your parents might think or what they might expect out of you. And if you're an adult, as an adult, it's more riskier if you have a family and everything, but you still need to do some type of manageable risk for the sake of your own, yourself and your family. If you want to be able to give them more than, where they're currently at, or you believe they deserve more as well, then you owe it to yourself to be able to find a way to take these risks responsibly as the man or woman, whoever you are, and to do things, go out there and just do things, try things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be in the same field as me, but you have to see these ideas and start trying these things. Grow some balls and just do it. Don't make excuses about how scared you are, or whatever the case may be. Like, you have to experience life. I think you have to go out there and try these things. It doesn't matter what it is, though.
Some people wait for doors to open, others kick them down.
Exactly. And that's it. I believe that 100%. You got to go and find your opportunities, because they're not going to just land in front of you. You have to kind of fight for your own piece of the pie.
Absolutely. Especially in this day and age.
Yeah, 100%.
There's always a way.
Well, here's the problem too, is like there's so much opportunity, but people are still like, they still won't do it.
Scared.
They're still scared.
Yeah.
And another thing is, like, I understand like there's so much opportunity that you don't know which one you got to pick. So that's why you have to kind of just, I would recommend, because there's so much type of different opportunities out there, you have to kind of see what's available and kind of go towards what's the most interesting to you, and then kind of fully commit it to that, right? And then, evaluate all these other things, but just stick to one. Get really good at that, move on to the next. Get really good at that, move on to the next.
There it is. So, where can people find you?
They can find me on my Instagram, which is just Kevin Pacman, or my TikTok, which is also Kevin Pacman as well. And yeah, you can basically find all of my resources that I have available there. Yeah.
And your Amazon FBA Academy, Boss Academy.
Yes.
Also, link in your bio.
Yes, link in my bio for the FBA Boss Academy if you want to learn how to do Amazon FBA. And yeah.
So, what's the future hold for you, Kev?
The future for me, ooh, good question. I'm the type of person who doesn't really think that far out. I like to really just focus on my now and like
live
in the moment, but my next two steps.
Yeah.
Right. So really, my next two steps are growing more of my current businesses, which is my Amazon business, my education business, my Airbnb business. The whole purpose of that is just to gather as much cash as humanly possible that I can. I'm at a stage in my life where I'm young, and I don't need to worry about really long-term investments. I need to make as much cash as possible right now, and then use that towards other things that can be, long-term investments or whatever, or even just bigger plays, commercial real estate, whatever. Same thing as well. I'm just trying to build as much cash as possible, and then I'll get married, have kids, etc. All that.
There
good
you
shit,
go. So really quick, what are a few stocks you're in?
Stocks?
Yeah.
I'm not in any stocks, bro.
No,
I'm
no.
I'm out of the market, bro.
Oh.
I don't honestly believe in stocks all that much, to be
Okay.
honest. Like I said, I'm currently in the goal of building as much cash as possible and creating as much cash flow as possible. So when it comes to like stocks or traditional like ways of real estate, where I'm like getting like a 7% return on my money, I'm not interested in that.
I forgot who said it. I think Lane Norton, really smart guy,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I know Lane
I think
Norton.
he said something like, I don't invest in stuff I don't fully understand
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And I know for a lot of people that could be the issue as well.
Yeah, so I wouldn't invest in things I fully don't understand as well. But I also, as if the numbers don't make sense either, I'm not going to do it. I don't care about 7% return. I care about like 100% return on my money. That's what I want.
That you
You
have
know,
more control over as
more
well.
control over, and that's why I like business so much, because I can just make money faster and in a much larger sense, and I have a lot more control over it.
There you go.
So that right now is the big goal. If the other people trade in stocks or whatever, that's up to you. But for me, that's not what's worked for me.
Kevin, thank you again for taking the time to sit down and have this conversation with me, man. It was something that we've been talking about for a few weeks,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm glad we finally made it happen.
This was fun. Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you guys are listening on podcast platforms, especially iTunes, you guys can leave up to a 5-star review. And we shall see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Oh, that was solid.
It's fun.
Very good. Very good.